What's going on, guys? With an E here, back with another YouTube video. Going to be doing another patch rundown. This is patch 8.7. So this is going to be another one of those smaller patches, but there's still quite a few interesting things, especially the Irelia rework is coming out on this patch. So let's get into it. So they want to follow up on the changes of Duskblade on the last patch. They want to be buffing or whatevering, just changing some of the assassins that felt like they got too nerfed or too buffed. Maybe, I don't know. Let's have a look. So the Irelia rework. I've done a quick video on that, just showcasing her abilities, but by this time, everyone should know what she does. She looks like a fun champion. She looks like she's going to have a high skill ceiling, which is good. I feel like that's something that they're doing well, especially with Zoe as well. Kind of had a decent skill ceiling until she started one-shotting everyone. Okay, Gragas. Ability power ratio up on his Q by 0.1 and drunken range by 0.2, and drunken range grants additional damage reduction equal to 4% per 100 ability power. Now this is okay. This is quite good, but it's definitely incentivizing you to go at least runic echoes, you know, as an item in the jungle, and then I don't know, maybe an off tank ability power item. I'm not sure. Maybe even just a abyssal mask. I couldn't really say, but it's definitely nice. It's definitely a buff, as I said, if you go runic echoes. But most people went Cinderhawk because he was a reliable tank with his engage on his E and his ultimate for pick. We'll have to see. I feel like this definitely helps him, but the second item, you know, to really start to benefit from this, because you're not really going to be benefiting too much just from the runic echoes. Feels like the second item would have to be AP as well, which means you'd probably need another tank. I don't know. Probably. To be able to be consistent anyway. At least Q damage up by 10 at all ranks, and E cooldown. So I like the E cooldown buff because you max it last. So this 2 seconds with some CDR means that it can get to about 8 seconds, which was the threshold normally as you get a few points into your E. So this is good. The Q damage is also it's also nice, but it's not too great. I guess because of the way that it works, the base damage will enhance how much. Wait, no, let me reword that. The base damage alongside the execute will mean that it's actually a slightly better buff than just 10 damage, but it's just 10 damage. But like realistically, I can't see her being a staple or top 5 pick in the jungle. Yeah, she's gonna need some more love. Hecarim W heal increased by 10%. Okay, so when you look at it one way, it's just 10% of healing. It's not. It doesn't really mean anything. It seems like a small buff, but then when you realise it's actually that spell is now becoming 33% more useful. It's going to have 33% more healing. Like it starts to seem like a better buff. So I guess it means that as you start putting points into this W and the healing cap gets bigger and bigger, that he's going to heal for a decent amount whilst that W's up, and it's going to be hard for him for people to kill him just in that short window. You know, he's going to be regenerating quite a bit of health, especially if he's got a few people to heal off. Ivan buffs, Q bug fixes, W cast range increased because they nerfed the cast range a long time ago. I feel like they're reverting some of that, and now Daisy's going to be more aggressive. See, problem is with Ivern is because he's so unique and he can counter a jungle so counter jungle, Jesus, so aggressively and so uniquely that if Ivern is on top, kind of forces a jungler's hand just because of the pick, and that's not healthy, because there should be some sort of element of skill. And what I mean by this is, if Ivern starts top side and you ward one of the enemy junglers' camps, whether it's red buff or blue buff, top side, bot side, he can say start a buff, or you can start wolves or chickens, and just run over to the enemy's buff that they didn't start, use the passive, smite it, walk back, and clear through the jungle, and just like that, you've kind of gotten ahead of the jungler. It's a bit weird when he Jesus, my words aren't coming out today. When he gets so much from getting ahead, it just seems like it's a bit overbearing. Like, sure, you're shutting down the enemy jungle and you're going to be buffing the enemy AD carry, but it just, whenever he's on top, it seems like this ADC is getting a 500 shield every 4 seconds, and on top of that, he's dealing more damage than what he should. But small buffs anyway. Not really going to change anything. I like the Daisy ultimate buff, just to make him kind of be more aggressive, or her. I spent too much time on that. Next, Karthus. Karthus isn't actually all that bad at the moment. Karthus is alright. Karthus is playable. Karthus is loving the Seraph's changes. And he already has a pretty strong level 1, level 2. One of the strongest. Because this isn't, when we look at these base damages, this isn't how much damage he actually does to champions if they're isolated. So 10 damage on every single rank actually means 20 damage when they're isolated, and this is before you take into account AP ratios, which also gets doubled. So this is going to buff his early game. I think the problem with Karthus at the moment is that his ultimate is on such a high cooldown, so the amount that he can actually impact the game isn't all that high. Sure, when it's up, he can impact, but then it's kind of the enemy team can fight in the next 2 minutes, and you won't have it early on. You won't have the ultimate early on. Back up. So that and the wall kind of seems a bit, with all the dashes and stuff, the wall kind of seems a little bit lackluster nowadays. I don't know. We'll have to see. This is nice though either way. Kayn gains more points early, fewer points later. This means that, specifically the way it ramps up over time, means that a lot of Kayn's early actions feel less impactful than what they should. First, the low numbers of points he gets early on makes early ganking and fighting a loss less worthwhile. Okay, so what they've done is they've made it so instead of just power farming and then looking for an opportunity where it's really obvious that you come out on top, he's kind of incentivized to gank a little bit earlier on and try and make the aggressive play, so he can get his whatever form he's going for quicker. Although I see a lot of red Kayn and not so much blue Kayn. That's even if I see Kayn. Leona's auto attack reset makes attack damage pretty valuable for her, so we're shifting that being her default adaptive set. That's cool. What could that mean? I don't know. You see a lot of people going Aftershock, but I guess secondary maybe a sorcery or the assassin one, the red one. Brain's not really working today. That's interesting. You can see But if she does get those stats, she can definitely play a lot more aggressively in lane, especially with the auto attack reset, as they say. She can actually pump out a decent amount of damage. Okay, Lux. Lux is one where she's really good if she's ahead, and it keeps being ahead. Now you can say that with a lot of champions, but the thing with Lux is if she gets behind, she feels really fucking useless, like really useless, and it's just not great. That on top of the fact that her wave clear is somewhat inconsistent means that she can get behind quite consistently, especially with the meta that we're going through at the moment, where there's a lot of wave clear. So they're changing the cooldown refund the first two levels to 30-40% from 10-30%, and then cooldown refund is granted if one or more enemy champion dies within 1.7 seconds of being hit by Final Spark. So you get the percentage, basically, if you hurt them with the ultimate in the last 1.75 seconds. Weird that they decided on 1.75 and not 2 seconds. That's nice. It means that it's a little bit more, as I said, consistent. As they say here, they wanted to give a more streamlined path to Snowball. Because if she's not snowballing, it feels a little bit lackluster, as I said. Okay, Malphite. Attack damage, growth, E, ability power ratio increased a lot, and cooldown decreased at the later levels. Pardon me. Okay, so Malphite is one where you feels like he's only good if you're against a full AD team, and even then, because of how like Last Whisper and things work, and he stacks so much armor, it just doesn't feel too great to play him at the moment. Only, as I say, in the full AD situations, and that, sure, he can be better in those situations, but I don't think it should be the only time where he's a good pick. So they're giving him some more hard engage, because I like that, because it feels like, especially from the top lane, the only engagey top lane that there really is Sion. And then it goes maybe Gnar, but Gnar kind of needs to follow up or have follow up, so it's not the same. And what I mean by follow up is maybe an Alistair or a Braum. I don't mean people to actually realise that he's engaging. Or maybe Maokai is the same. So this is nice to have another hard engage option, because at the moment it just seems like, I say hard engage, I just mean engage, because at the moment it just feels like a lot of it comes from the jungle. So this is nice, giving the top lane a few options. Not to mention that Tabi was nerfed this patch, so I feel like maybe some of these buffs are gonna reactively keep him the same. We'll have to find out. Probably not. He's probably still a buff even with the Tabi. Nocturne. Bonus attack damage on trial is increased. They're buffing him again. To be fair, since the Dustblade nerf, he hasn't seemed nearly as annoying or strong or anything. There's just as many people playing him, but he feels nowhere near as strong. So they're looking at giving him some attack damage if they follow the Q Dustbringer, or if they hit the Dustbringer, then it's guaranteed. It's not too much. It's only 5. Nothing really important. Olaf, our initial movement speed buff decreased, but it's the same late game. I think what this means is that he's going to want a Righteous Glory, or maybe, I guess, considering people are taking Predator on him, they have to choose. Either maybe like press the attack and go for an early Righteous Glory, or just stick with Predator, and I don't see why people wouldn't stick with Predator. So they're taking some movement speed away from his ultimate, especially considering Predator stops as soon as you've hit them, so it kind of makes it a little bit less inconsistent, a little bit more inconsistent. Quinn bug fixes, dead champion. Uh, Rengar's base attack increase, Q no longer causes him to sometimes cancel his actions, so they're just making him a little bit nicer to play. Rumble buffs. Just gonna read this. So early pushing is around about the same, increased a little bit, but as you level it up, it will eventually allow you to push a little bit more, and early game damage is obviously increased. As they say here, Rumble could use with trading strength, but we don't want to give him too much wave clear in return. So this makes sense, this is good. I really like Rumble as champion. It gives you options for AP damage other than the mid lane. It allows people like Zed, Talon, Jace, even Lucian to be picked in the mid lane, which they haven't been done for a long time because of how it has been. Sedraini buffs, I'm fed up of seeing this champion. Health growth decreased, permafrost stun duration lowered quite significantly, especially when she's losing 7 health a level as well. That's pretty bad. Okay, so that should finally stop her being a top tier pick. There is always Zac. I mean, he's still really strong, but this should stop her from being a top tier pick. And maybe Gragas might start coming back in. We'll have to find out. Shaco's next basic attack within 0.25 seconds of exiting invisibility deals bonus damage and reduces Deceive's cooldown. Empowered attack ratio decreased a lot. We gave it a lot more power to compensate for the Duskblade changes. It was a bit much, so this patch we're tightening up the window. That's fine. Considering I was literally in a game against him yesterday, I had a Frozen Gauntlet and a GA on Ezreal, and he still pretty much one-shot me through a Locket Shield. So I feel like he's definitely in a place where he shouldn't be, and it's very unhealthy, especially just considering it's Shaco. He's a very unhealthy champion when he's strong anyway. Could really do with a complete kind of like kit rework where the direction is a little bit different, purely because there's so much power all put onto his Q first auto attack. I guess they're changing this, but not putting it anywhere else. So we'll have to find out. Alright, Q nerfs, finally. We don't have to ban him every single game after they buffed the hell out of him. Base damage decreased, cooldown decreased. So Swain has finally hit the 2 strong point, so it's time to reduce some of his baseline power. That's fine. Let's see what he's like when he actually has to scale and not has infinite amounts of power in his kit. Bug fix. Q no longer deals damage twice. Yeah, this was really bullshitty when you'd randomly lose more than half your health from a Q. So that's nice. Don't like Warwick. He's been strong ever since they had pretty much brought him out. They feel like Zed falls off. No, sorry. The Duskblade update hit Zed harder than they expected, so they're going to give him some power in his Q. I guess this works as wave clear, or unless you're trying to hit people through minions, as this doesn't really help with the assassinations. Unless you're hitting people. I guess, no, that's a nice buff. That's an alright buff. They really want to try and get assassins back into the meta by the looks of it. Winsu's Rageblade. It's a stupid item. When it can be built on someone like a Jhin, it's just ridiculous. So I like this. Kai'Sa also uses it too well. Varus also still using it really well. Locket, base shield down, shield per target's level down, bonus health ratio. Up early. I guess it's better early. Horrible late. Cooldown up. They're nerfing everything to do about it, aren't they? So they've nerfed that pretty hard. I guess they just want to feel like you can kill people when they'll just be saved by their support over and over and over again. That's alright. It's going to hurt people like Braum and Alistair though, but I guess they have been on top for a very long time. Ninja Tabi, armor decreased, basic attack damage reduction increased by 2%, so overall I think this is a bit of a nerf. Especially when it comes to like Zed and Talon, I guess. Just AD casters are going to like this. I was about to say maybe even Lucian, but I don't think so. Who need to be take this? They feel like tanks are taking this too often, and they need to be able to take punishment from marksmen and other basic attackers, but less for marksmen who want some armor to survive against assassins. Okay, that makes sense. So they want people like tanks to be able to still buy it and it still be the same, but AD carries aren't allowed to build it anymore when combating assassins, which is a bit of a feels bad. But hey, they feel like ADCs being one shot by AD assassins is the only way that AD assassins can be viable. So not to mention the fact that people like Rengar who suffer, or when you're against people like Rengar, you're getting the most out of Tabi, and he still nearly one-shots. Well, no, he still will one-shot me. It's a bit scary. Okay. Aura items. Large champions no longer become bigger than their item auras. Huh, okay. So these are like Cho'Gath buffs, I guess, kind of. I guess it is a buff when you think about it. Just kind of bug fixes, I guess, as well. Relic shield line, passive gold generation down a lot everywhere. I guess combined with the Locket of the Iron Solari nerf, even Ninja Tabi, we might see the end of tank supports. It's kind of sad, as I prefer the tank support meta as to constantly being poked out by a support and being able to be 1v1'd by someone who doesn't even have to last hit the whole game. Or insta-killed, whatever. Brand, Zyra, Karma hitting me for 800 health with a Q. But whatever. Taking some of the stuff away from the resolve tree. So the path grants lower health early, more late. So people are less tanky. So people like AD carries aren't just going to be taking it. As that's one thing I still don't do. I still take sorcery second, but I see a lot of ADCs, a lot of supports, a lot of mid laners, a lot of jungle taking the resolve second because it gives you a lot at the moment. So this, once again, is a nerf to tank supports. I guess it's a nerf to tanks as well. Early on. It's alright. Mana flow ban rework, so basically now, instead of just giving you free mana whenever you use a spell when mana flow ban is up, now you have to hit an enemy champion with a spell and it gives you 25 maximum mana, up to 250 max mana, cooldown up 15 seconds. No, the cooldown is 15 seconds. And once you've gotten all that mana, it will refund 1% of your missing mana every 5 seconds. So I feel like there's a bit of skill involved. You can't just AFK farm waves. With this new mana flow ban, it kind of invites you to play a bit aggressive. There's a bit of a reward for playing aggressive instead of it just being free. I like it. I think it's good. I'm going to be trying it on Ezreal. Presence of Mind, enemy takedown, restore 20% of your maximum mana and 10% of your ultimate's cooldown. So its Presence of Mind is extremely valuable on some champions and barely noticeable on others. Specifically, champions with long cooldowns can't benefit from this current effect. So we're moving it back to a more generic power so it's consistent across more champions. So you get 20% of your maximum mana and 10% cooldown on your ultimate. So does that mean if you get a pentakill, I guess it wouldn't make sense, it wouldn't matter if you got a pentakill, but I guess if you ult at the beginning of the fight, get a kill with presence of mind, get another kill, you've had like 16 seconds taken off your ultimate. And by the end of the fight, you could probably have it again, especially someone like Lux is definitely going to want this. With ultimate hat, she's going to have a ridiculously low cooldown on her ultimate. We'll have to find out though. Legend Tenacity. I mean, I really like the idea of this. I like the idea of being able to take it on an AD carry and not just be insta CC'd forever. But the problem is, the old one, when you get that and boots, you've still only got 50% tenacity. So a 2-second stun is still a 1-second stun, and you're still dead. So I guess this is it's a 10% buff, and you farm it up a bit quicker as well. Obviously, same amount of stacks. I like it. People like Leona and Ashe. When you're against people like Leona and Ashe, you should probably take this, get Merc Treads, and it really does reduce how much they can do. Especially when the magic resist also reduces how much damage the ultimate and the ultimates from both of them do, and the auto attack, enhanced magic damage, and the Xerath's Blade, all that stuff. So I like it. I feel like it still might need a little bit more, but in those situations, like I just said, I feel like it's probably going to be the best. They're buffing cut down, so you've got 2% extra damage when at the maximum health threshold. So against like 2 tanks, it's better to take cut down, basically. Zombie ward, duration, down early. Zombie ward's double vision whammy, providing vision when you've just taken it away. It's too good when its users get ahead, so they want it to be lowered at level 1 to 4 and then scale worse still than before. Okay, I guess it is taken quite a bit. I don't really see it too much, but I guess the whole idea of constantly having vision in your enemy's jungle is a bit, what's the word? I can't think of the word because my brain isn't working today, but I guess it's just like shoving your lead down your enemy's throats when it comes to vision. Like you should have to refresh vision, and they're making it so you can't really just rely on zombie ward duration, or if you do, it's for not as long. Approach velocity. I don't even know what this rune is. Currently being outperformed by other competing runes. Movement speed, 15%. Approach velocity. Oh, this is the one where you goes to show, yeah, it does need a buff, because I don't have a clue what it is, but I just remembered. It's the one where if an enemy is CC'd, you can move faster towards it. 10% and 15% is not worth it. It's just take the other ones. Absolute focus now lists how much it gives in the description at level 1. Minions. Oh, they're changing how last hitting works. So I guess the way I see this is there's more incentive to fight over a cannon minion. Like it's more of like a mini objective. 60 gold is a lot. It's more than half of 100, obviously. But they're taking it away from caster minions because I guess they are a little bit too easy to last hit for how much gold they were given, and then melee minions are given 1 more gold than what they were before, and they're a little bit harder to last hit, and then obviously siege up by 15, and the gold increased every 3 waves is up by 3, so wait, 3 waves a minute, 10 minutes in, these siege minions are nearly worth 100 gold. No, 15 minutes in, sorry. Jesus, that's a lot though. Okay, super minions, the same. Okay. The amount of damage red buff adds to a jungler's ability to push a tower after a successful gank is pretty high, and that can make the difference between a tower killed and a tower half-healthed. There's not much gameplay around this distinction. It was just something escalating how quickly towers fell, so we're removing it. Oh wow, okay. Oh, right. Well, that takes away some of the power from a jungler, and I guess AD carry late game, but not really. Close enough. The attack move on cursor setting now checks a larger area for a valid target before defaulting to attacking the closest unit to your champion. That's nice, because there's nothing worse than it expecting you to click somewhere. You expecting it to attack where you've attack moved, and it just attacking the closest thing to you. Voice chat. Not important. Bug fixes. And then Badlands, Baron, Rumble, and Lancer Stratus, Wukong, 2 skins that are not going to be used because neither of the champions are played. New chest, new cosmetics only. Okay, well that's everything. It's quite a long video, but I feel like I had to talk about everything. Let me know if you prefer these longer patch rundowns where I kind of go in depth with a lot of the changes, or if you prefer one where I just kind of quickly give my opinion, quickly say what I think, which is my opinion. Oh, God, I need to go back to sleep. And yeah, just let me know which one you prefer. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Peace.